sit with me for a moment. Before anything else, before the noise of the day reaches you, before the next thought arrives uninvited and pulls you somewhere you did not choose to go. Just sit. Notice what is happening right now inside you. Perhaps there is a low hum of something unfinished. Perhaps there is a name or a worry circling just beneath the surface, like a fish moving under dark water. Perhaps you opened this video because something in you recognized a word, restlessness, and felt a quiet ache of familiarity. You are not broken. You are not weak. What you are feeling is one of the oldest, most human experiences that has ever existed on this earth. The ancient monks had a name for it. They called it papanca, mental proliferation. The mind that cannot stop making more of itself. The mind that takes one small pebble of thought and builds an entire landscape of suffering around it. And tonight, we are going to walk through that landscape together. We are going to understand it, feel it, and gently, with great compassion, begin to dissolve it. To continue healing your body and soul through these ancient teachings, I invite you to join our path by subscribing to this sanctuary. Every teaching shared here is offered as a gift, a lantern held out in the dark, and subscribing ensures that the next time you are lost in the noise of your own mind, you will know exactly where to return. Now, let us begin. There is a monastery I once heard described by a teacher who had spent 3 rainy seasons inside its walls, somewhere in the hills of northern Thailand, where the forest presses close and the mist does not fully lift until mid-morning. He said that when he first arrived, he was certain that the silence would heal him. He had been a man who lived inside his head, a man of plans and arguments and endless inner dialogue, and he believed that if he could simply remove himself from the world long enough, the noise would stop. But on the 3rd night, lying on a thin mat in his small wooden kuti, he realized with a kind of quiet horror that the noise had followed him. Every thought he had ever pushed away was waiting for him in that silence. Every unresolved conversation, every fear about the future, every regret he had carried so long, he had mistaken it for part of his own body. The forest was utterly still, and inside him there was a hurricane. This is the first pillar of understanding the restless mind. The noise was never outside you to begin with. We spend enormous energy rearranging the external world. We change jobs, we end relationships, we move to new cities, we redecorate rooms, we fill our evenings with sound and stimulation, all in the hope that if we can just find the right configuration of things, the inner restlessness will finally quiet down. But the Buddha taught something that requires a certain courage to fully receive. He taught that the source of suffering is not circumstance. It is the untrained mind encountering its own nature and not knowing what to do. The restless mind is not a problem to be solved from the outside. It is a teacher living inside you, waiting to be understood. Feel into that for a moment. Take a slow breath. Place one hand gently on your chest and ask yourself honestly, when was the last time you sat in genuine stillness, without a phone, without music, without even the comfort of a podcast, just you and the raw experience of being alive in this moment? For most of us, that kind of stillness feels almost threatening, and that is not an accident. The second pillar is this: the mind fears stillness, because stillness is where unprocessed truth lives. There is a Zen story about a student who came to a master and said, "Teacher, my mind will not be quiet. What should I do?" The master looked at him for a long moment and then said, "Show me this mind that will not be quiet, and I will quiet it for you." The student sat. He searched. He tried to locate the thing that was causing all the noise. And in that very act of searching, something extraordinary happened. The noise softened, not because it had been defeated, but because it had finally been seen. The master smiled and said, "I have already quieted it." This is the essence of the second insight. The restless mind feeds on avoidance. Every time we look away from a difficult thought, every time we distract ourselves before fully feeling what is present, the thought does not disappear. It goes underground. It becomes denser. It returns with more force and less clarity. But when we turn toward the noise with gentle curiosity, something shifts. We are no longer running, and a mind that stops running begins, very slowly, to rest. The third pillar is about the nature of thought itself. And here, Buddhism offers something quite radical. Most of us believe that we are our thoughts. We believe that the stream of inner commentary, the judgments and stories and fears and fantasies that run continuously through the mind, we believe that this stream is who we are. We protect it, defend it, build our entire sense of identity around it. But the Buddha pointed to something different. He said, "Thoughts arise, and thoughts pass. They are like clouds moving through the sky. The sky does not become the cloud. The sky does not suffer because clouds appear. You are the sky. The thoughts are the weather." Right now, without trying to change anything, just notice what is happening in your body as you receive those words. There may be a small relaxation somewhere in your chest or your shoulders. That relaxation is recognition. Some part of you has always known this. Some part of you has been exhausted by the weight of believing every thought that arrives is a truth you must carry. You do not have to carry all of it. The fourth pillar reaches into the specific quality of modern restlessness. Because while papanca, this proliferating mind, has always been part of human experience, something has intensified in our time. The sheer volume of information, the constant comparison, the notifications and headlines, and the endless scroll of other people's lives, all of this has created a kind of mental environment that the monks of the forest could not have imagined. We are living inside a machine designed to keep the mind agitated. And an agitated mind is a mind that does not question. It only reacts. Ajahn Chah, that great teacher from the Ubon forests of Thailand, once said something that has stayed with me for many years. He said that the mind is like water. If you stir it constantly, you will never see the bottom. But if you allow it to be still, clarity comes naturally, like sediment settling. The practice, then, is not to fight the noise of our age. That fight only creates more noise. The practice is to find, each day, even for just a few minutes, a place inside yourself where the stirring stops, where you are not performing, not consuming, not comparing, where you are simply present with the miracle of being alive in this body, in this breath, in this moment. Find that breath now. Let it be a little deeper than your last one. Let the exhale be slow, unhurried, as if you have nowhere to be but here. Because right now, truly, you do not. The fifth pillar is what Buddhism calls the second arrow. The Buddha once asked his monks, If a man is struck by an arrow, does he suffer? The monk said, yes, of course he suffers. And if that same man is then struck by a second arrow in the very same spot, does he suffer more? Yes, greatly more. The Buddha said, the pains of life are the first arrow. They are unavoidable. There will be loss. There will be uncertainty. There will be moments that are genuinely, deeply difficult. But the second arrow is what we do to ourselves in response to that pain. The self-judgment. The why is this happening to me? The I should be further along by now. The I am too much or not enough. The catastrophizing, the endless loop of a conversation that already happened and cannot be changed. The restless mind fires the second arrow constantly, and it fires it so quickly, so automatically, that we often cannot feel the difference between the original pain and the suffering we are creating around it. This is not a reason for self-criticism. Please hear that clearly. The mind that fires second arrows has been doing so because it believed it was protecting you. It was trying to prepare you, to control outcomes, to make sure you would never be caught off guard. It was doing its best with what it knew. But you can gently, lovingly, teach it something new. The sixth pillar is the body a sanctuary. One of the most profound teachings I have encountered across Buddhist traditions is this: the restless mind cannot survive in the body, not in a fully inhabited body, not in a body that is felt from the inside. When the mind is spinning, it is almost always because consciousness has risen into the head and lost contact with the living intelligence of the body below the neck. The sensations in the hands and feet, and the weight of the body against whatever supports it, the rhythm of breath moving through the belly. All of this is happening right now, and it is happening in this moment only. Not in the past, not in the future, only here. This is why every great contemplative tradition has used the body as the doorway back to presence, not to escape thought, but to provide the spinning mind with something real and immediate to anchor itself to. Try it right now. Without changing your posture dramatically, just allow your awareness to drop downward. Feel the weight of your legs. Feel the contact between your body and the surface beneath you. Feel the subtle rise and fall of your own breathing. Not the idea of breathing, but the actual physical sensation of air entering and leaving. Stay there for just a few breaths. Let the body remind the mind that it is held, that it is here, that beneath all the noise there is something steady and alive. That steadiness is always available, always. You simply have to remember to return to it. The seventh pillar is perhaps the most tender one. It concerns what the restless mind is actually looking for. Because beneath all the planning and the worrying and the endless inner dialogue, beneath the second arrows and the papanca and the spinning and the noise, there is something deeply human. There is a longing to feel safe, a longing to feel that you are enough, that you belong, that your life has meaning, that you will not be abandoned, that you are loved. The mind thinks that if it just thinks hard enough, long enough, carefully enough, it can figure out how to secure all of those things. It believes that restlessness is the price of preparation, that if you stop being vigilant, something terrible will slip through. But safety, real safety, the kind that does not depend on everything going the way you planned, that safety is not found in thinking. It is found in presence. It is found in the willingness to be fully here, in this impermanent, uncertain, wildly alive moment, without needing it to be different. Metta, loving kindness practice, is one of the most powerful tools the Buddhist tradition offers for this specific wound. The practice is simple, but its effects are profound. You begin by directing warmth toward yourself. Not as you wish you were, as you actually are. The tired version, the confused version, the version that still does not have everything figured out. You say to that version of yourself, quietly, internally, may you be at ease. May you be free from suffering. May you know peace. Then you extend that same warmth to others. First to those you love easily. Then to those you feel neutral about. Then, and this is where the real medicine lives, to those who have hurt you or frustrated you, the people who trigger your restlessness and your fear. May they also be at ease. May they also be free from suffering. May they also know peace. This practice does not require you to be a saint. It does not require you to have perfect love for everyone immediately. It only requires your willingness. And in that willingness, something in the defended mind begins to open. The fist begins to unclench. And in that unclenching, there is rest. The eighth pillar is anicca, impermanence. It is perhaps the most foundational teaching in all of Buddhism, and it is the teaching that, when truly understood at the level of the body, and not just the intellect, it dissolves the root of restlessness most completely. Everything passes, not as a consolation, not as a thing we say to feel better, as the literal, observable nature of reality. Every thought you have ever had has passed. Every feeling you have ever believed would never end has ended. Every version of yourself you have clung to or mourned has given way to something new. Even this moment, as you receive these words, is already becoming the past. There is a grief that can come with this teaching, a grief that is not only loss, but also relief. Because if everything passes, then the suffering also passes. The restlessness also passes. The version of yourself that has been lost in thinking, that version is also not permanent. It is a pattern, and patterns can change. One of the most beautiful practices in the Thai Forest tradition is something taught by Ajahn Lee, which involves sitting quietly at the end of the day and reviewing not the events of the day, but the feelings of the day, one by one, and then letting them go, not suppressing them, not judging them, just acknowledging them the way you might acknowledge guests who have come and gone through the rooms of your house. They were here. They are not here now. There was once a joy, a frustration, a longing, a moment of beauty, and they have passed through, and you remain. What remains when every feeling has been acknowledged and released? This is what the contemplatives were trying to point toward. Something spacious, something quiet, something that was never actually disturbed by any of it. The ninth pillar is the invitation to begin. Not tomorrow, not when things settle down, not when you have more time or less stress or a better meditation cushion. Now. This moment, exactly as it is the only moment practice is ever possible. Because this is the final thing that the restless mind uses to keep itself restless. It tells you that the conditions for peace are not yet right, that once this situation resolves, once this relationship stabilizes, once this project is finished, once the season changes, then you will finally be able to rest. Then you will be ready to begin. But the present moment does not wait, and peace that is only available under perfect conditions is not peace at all. It is just another form of waiting. The invitation of these 9 pillars is not to achieve a state of permanent, blissful calm. That is not what the monks in those forest monasteries were working toward either, no matter what we might romanticize. The invitation is much more immediate and much more real. It is to meet this moment, this exact configuration of noise and feeling and uncertainty, with a little more gentleness than you brought to the last one. To notice the spinning just one moment sooner. To take one conscious breath where before you would have reached for a distraction. To place one hand on your chest and remember that beneath the noise, your own heart is beating, and it has been beating faithfully, without any effort from your thinking mind, your entire life. That faithfulness is something to rest in. That is not a small thing. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness in which thoughts arise and pass. You are the sky. And no storm, no matter how long it has lasted, no matter how convincingly it has told you that it is all there is, has ever actually touched the sky. Come back to your breath. Come back to the weight of your body. Come back to the ancient, unhurried rhythm of being alive in this moment, this single, irreplaceable, already passing moment. You have always been closer to peace than you knew. You are closer than you know right now.